All right, guys, we are live. Sorry I'm late. We've been running crazy. I had a cable problem with a cable, had to run to Best Buy and back, and of course we're live. And I think our video quality might actually be better. I think I found a weak link into what our video problem was, and so this is as we've been going live each week for the last year and trying to improve what we do each week. I'm starting to reduce some weak links into what we do each week. But welcome into the show. Got a lot to talk about. Buddy Sanji's off tonight. He's got a date night. Of course, that's what he always says when he's not here on Wednesday nights. And I think we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, LSU put up a strong effort against Alabama, but now we've got more offensive line problems with Arkansas coming to town. What a great start to LSU men's and women's basketball yesterday. We can talk about that. Signing day today. Jay Johnson with a fantastic number one ranked recruiting class. Kim Mulkey with some big time signees. Will Wade with some big time signees. Start of the playoffs. Your brackets came out early Monday morning. Not so interesting games week one of the LHSAA high school football playoffs, but some very nice matchups, particularly if the brackets hold to form, what we might actually see in the Baton Rouge area next week. We can talk about that. Of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. Signed up a record number of guys this week that actually chose to call Pride Roofing, tell them that they heard about them on TigerBait, got free subscriptions for calling and getting a free roofing inspection and estimate, and had a record week. Pride Roofing's absolutely excited about all those referrals that you guys are giving them. And we'll talk more about what Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez do a little bit later in the show. But I want to get to as many of your comments. If you saw Preston's show last night, he had a beat writer on from the Oklahoma talking a lot about this Lincoln Riley stuff that's out there. Obviously, he, Jimbo Fisher, have probably been your two hottest names out there for the last week. I think there's a lot more smoke with the Lincoln Riley thing than people think. And certainly Preston talked to their guy last night. And a lot of the things that their beat writer said on Preston's show is stuff that we would say as far as why it makes sense. But look, it's always difficult to try and take a guy away from a top-ranked football program. But it's very interesting to see if that could be the direction that Scott Woodward and Stephanie Rempe go in. We can talk about all that. Please do me a favor, hit like, share, and welcome to all of you into the show. And if you enjoy it, do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm going to try and get to as many of you guys tonight. And right out the bat, Brian and Andy Penton with a super chat. How about Double J landing the one recruiting class? Wow, only have been 5 months here. I talked to a good buddy of mine. In fact, I think he's going to come in for a special show next week. One of the premier baseball guys as far as a scout in the area. And he thinks that this recruiting class is absolutely fantastic. And he said if just 2 of the 5 pitchers end up signing, that the sky's going to be the limit for what Jay Johnson has in store for the LSU baseball team in the coming years. That's always been the rub. You can have a number one recruiting class, but how many of them are actually going to be there next August enrolled in school and a part of your program? And I think, we're going to see if Jay Johnson has the same struggles that Skip Bertman and Paul Maneri had, top-ranked recruiting classes, but who do you hold on to? So we're going to see how that plays out. But obviously a lot of excitement. One of my good buddies is a big LSU baseball guy, and he said he hadn't been this giddy for LSU baseball in a long time. And everybody's been going out and watching their fall practices and fall ball. So there's a lot of reason to be excited about LSU athletics across the board. You're going to get a new football coach. You've got, of course, Will Wade, the general, doing what he's doing. What they did to ULM last night, I don't give a damn who you're playing. When you wear somebody out the way they did, I mean, they looked like they were in mid-season form. And, could you imagine if, some of the other pieces that could have been there? Of course, guard went down with the knee and losing him. But, I really liked what I saw at that LSU basketball team last night. I was at Kim Mulkey's press conference yesterday. Press conference post game, and I was at the game as well. And of course, they laid the wood to Nichols and what they called their field trip game where you had a bunch of girls basketball teams from it looked like elementary, possibly middle school, as well as high schools. I know Woodlawn. I think Episcopal's team was there, all in the area of where our press row was at. So, of course, those girls were screaming all game long. So, let's see what we got here, guys. Let me scroll up. Thanks again, Brian and Andy Pinton, for the super chat. Frederick Wright, come on down, Lincoln Riley. I think a lot of people see what, and look, the beat writer that was on with Preston last night kind of echoes what a lot of us would say here as to why it would make sense. Oklahoma, the state itself, probably produces 2 or 3 very good football players a year. I mean, it really doesn't do a lot. They've got to go into Texas, and that's always been what Oklahoma's had to do. Go into Texas and recruit very well, and it's so difficult to recruit big-time players across the board, defensively, offensively, and so they get to the playoffs, they get waxed, got beat bad by LSU 2 years ago, and I wonder if that's where they max out at. Now they're coming into the SEC. Does that make things easier or more difficult? There's a strong case to be made that's going to make things more difficult on Oklahoma's ability to get over the hump. And are they going to add another loss or two a year just because of the additional tough games that they've got to play now? So I think, look, there's something there. He makes a little over $7 million. I was told by a good source on Saturday that it could be as much as $10, $11, $12 million a year to lure him away. Obviously, when you try to hire somebody away that's got a great job at a big-time program like Oklahoma, you got to overpay a little bit. But when you give them a 7 or 8 year deal, you're able to spread that out, and that's what Scott Woodward did with Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher's contract in 2017 looked obscene, and by year 2 or 3, Jimbo was barely in the top 10 with his salary, if I remember right. So that's the way you do it. But his buyout's going to be hefty as well. But I mean, when you prorate that out over a multi-year contract, the buyout, even if it's $8-9 million, if you're going to sign him to an 8-year deal, it's not that bad. So we're going to see how that plays out. He's one of the guys. Obviously, Jimbo's still going to be out there because of no buyout. The Mel Tucker, of course, Michigan State losing to Purdue. So Mario Cristobal, Luke Fickell, is Brian Kelly named? Is he going to come back into the fold? All the regulars that we've been talking out for the last 3 weeks are right here still in week 4. Mark Chambers gives us a what's up. Glad to have you with us, Mark. American Patriot sound is good here. Thank you. Leon Nietzsche, go Tigers. Josh Forbes, your problem is not having Preston with you. Yeah, Josh is a big fan of Preston. Thanks for that, Josh. Kyle McConnell, we want Lincoln Riley. Blake Edward Ryland. Lincoln Riley, come on down, our next head coach. Chance Babin, love the recruiting class by Jay Johnson that he got. Let's see. LSU's a slight underdog on Saturday. Yeah, and I think LSU can win the football game. Is there going to be a hangover after that effort that came up short against Alabama? We'll see. One thing that's really hasn't plagued some of Ed Orgeron's teams, but obviously this is a different animal, and now you got additional offensive line problems. Hines not going to play the rest of the season. Ingram not practicing. It's going to be, what formula do they come up with there? And obviously a key to Arkansas is you got to stop their run. Rick Kelly, hey, Mike, on Monday Night Football, they said that Mike Tomlin's offensive coordinator is Matt Canada, and that he fell in love with his rushing offense. Love your show. Yeah, it's amazing how one man's trash is another man's treasure, I guess. Fayhue Sherbert, basketball looks good. Yeah, they do. And nice crowds yesterday. For 11 a.m. on a weekday, I thought once they got into the second half of the women's game, the PMAC was really starting to fill up and have some nice seats. And obviously a huge crowd at the PMAC last night for Will Wade's huge win over ULM. I mean, that was what a clinic that the LSU men's basketball team put on last night. And I tend to think Kim Mulkey's been laying in the weeds. I think she's got a lot more wins than she's putting on. That she said all offseason she just wanted to win one more game than they won last year. I think she's going to win a lot more games than just one more game than how Nikki Fargas's team finished last year. Scott Trahan, great show. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Good evening, Mike. What is on Flip Watch? I think the linebacker is one to watch. He's going to visit Georgia again. So I think, heck, let me look at the list. I tell you what, I really think that's it. I think they're all pretty much going to stick. Just from my observations and talking to guys, I really think Tolan's going to be the only one. We'll see what happens at Rim. I think he's going to be okay. Mason Taylor, I think, is going to stay and wait and see. I think the class is pretty much going to hold up. Maybe one, maybe two. But then, if you get a guy on board pretty quick, I think you're going to be in good shape. So we'll see what Tolan does with Georgia. That I think that's going to make things interesting. All right. Richard Sinnett, let's go. Mike. Yep. Ronald John Elias, any update on Investigate? Ready to be done with it? Just that you're getting the feeling that something's going to happen. I know I've been one of the guys for quite some time that has thought that, Will Wade was going to weather the storm. But after what Oklahoma State got hit with last week, and it was absolutely atrocious what the NCAA did to Oklahoma State. I don't know if you guys got to watch that press conference. Good for the athletics director and the head football coach for laying it out there and really naming names with the NCAA. But that, to me, that's what's scary to me, what they did to Oklahoma State. They've been digging around. You can talk about damn strong offer and whatever was on that audio tape with the FBI and HBO. But when they come around and start digging around, have they found something else to nail Will Wade with? And unless he gets a show cause, what is Scott Woodward willing to do? Obviously, Coach Wade is real popular with the fan base. And I think if they got hit with something, whether it be a postseason ban for a year or a couple of scholarships, as long as he can still recruit, I think it would be well worth it for LSU to stick around. As far as the football and the Our Lady of the Lake stuff, there's so many little things as to what's going on with both the football and the basketball issues with the NCAA. And there's some conjecture out there if there's some negotiating. I don't know what to make of any of that, but I agree with you that hopefully the sooner else you can put these things behind them, the better. Because essentially what they did to Oklahoma State is kind of happening in LSU. You're talking about something at Oklahoma State. It was something that happened when the kids that are on the current roster were in the 7th grade. And now they're out of postseason play for something that was $300, they said. So what are they going to do to Will Wade? Hope it doesn't happen. Rick Westfall, why is Jimbo the red hot name right now? Because he has no buyout, and his friendship, many decade friendship with Scott Woodward, and Scott Woodward hired him at Texas A&M, and I feel like I'm probably coming across like I'm crapping on Jimbo Fisher a bit, and I'm not trying to do that. I just think 6 years ago, 2015-16, I was all gung-ho for Jimbo. Now I think there's a better direction to go with some of the other names we're talking about. And I think there's probably 6 or 7 really good names that I wouldn't squawk about. And look, I like Coach Fisher, but I like some of the other names that we continue to talk about on all these shows. David Singley Jr., I would love him to be the next Nick Saban at LSU. talking about Lincoln Riley, I assume. Yeah, what he could do with LSU, the state of Louisiana's talent, getting in a great defensive coordinator to go along with his high-powered offense, the sky could be the limit. And I think that's the selling point. Face Hugh Sherbert. Max looks tentative throwing the ball. Your thoughts? He's not 100%. He is injured. And he doesn't have a number one wide receiver. He's got a patchwork offensive line. But he does hold on to the ball a little bit too long. And while I like LSU's wide receivers, I don't see a true number one wide receiver. Losing Kayshon Boutte was huge. I think there's a couple of guys that could be a strong number two, maybe a number one in a year or two. But right now, I see a bunch of threes, a bunch of third rod receivers, and they're all trying to get the job done. And LSU was so close on Saturday, and you just got to think about what might have happened had Boutte been there and healthy. Yeah, Josh Forbes, I heard there was a strong-ass offer. Yeah. Courtney Brown, hey, great show. Glad to have Courtney on board with us. Will Piku, why are you so high on Cristobal? Well, I'm high on Cristobal because I know if when I talk to all of my Alabama guys in the media, if Alabama was if Nick Saban were to announce that he was going to retire in a couple of years, Cristobal might be their number one guy. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's an offensive line guru, and he currently has the third-ranked football team in the college football playoffs. And I think he's a heck of a coach. And the one position that is LSU's Achilles heel almost every year, every offseason, what do we talk about? What is the weakest link on the football team? It's almost always offensive line, and I don't believe that would ever be a scenario with Cristobal. Having said that, I'm not married to him. I can go with Lincoln Riley or Luke Fickell in a heartbeat if they ended up deciding after an interview, and Scott Woodward came out and said, you know what, I interviewed all these guys, and the most impressive guy was Billy Napier, then so be it. You know, Dave Aranda, whoever it might be. There's a couple other options in there. Who can you get? Can he get the big fish to shine the object, or is he gonna have to wait it out, and is he gonna have to go to the next tier? You know, is it one of the guys that's similar to Jay Johnson in the baseball search that we're not really talking about? Brian Champon, more players out. Blaine Smith, no Ingram or Hines, not good. Exactly. Tyler, how are you feeling about Kendrick Law and Shaz Presson? I've seen things to suggest that they're trending Alabama. I think LSU is in a very, very good position for Shaz. Kendrick could go either way. I think, obviously they were both at Alabama last weekend, and so we'll see how it plays out. Because LSU's just got to go each week and waiting to see who the new coach is going to be. I think if you saw my Walker Howard interview Saturday night, I think a lot of them are taking the same tact as him. They've gotten word and they're being told that Scott Woodward's going to hire somebody good just to sit tight, and I think they are going to sit tight. But man, it sure seems like the clock is ticking slow because everybody's wanting the month of November to hurry up and be over with so we can see who the new football coach is going to be in the new era of LSU football. Chance Babin, how many fans do you expect this weekend? I think the weather's going to be nice. I think there's going to be a lot of fans that show up. I do. It should be a really good football game. I think the two teams, the game could go either way. I think it's going to be a hard-fought football game. So if the weather's nice and cool, I think a lot of people are going to get out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw a clear weather map. Michael Chavis, quarterback change. Yeah, there was a lot of hubbub early in the week about Nussmeier playing, burning a red shirt after thinking that he wanted to be red shirted. And so we're going to see how much he does indeed play on Saturday. I like the idea of red shirting and only using his one game left if he absolutely had to. That would be my preference, but I don't know what the debate is in the Nussmeier household, but something changed, obviously. Dane Bergeron, any information on how practice is going with the quarterbacks? We'll find out what Ed Orgeron tells us tomorrow, but I suspect it's just like any other week. Although Garrett is supposed to be getting a lot more reps with the ones, they're supposed to be splitting them up evenly. Barry Barbier booked tickets now for the Toilet Bowl. Michael Duyon, how many snaps do you think Nuss will get on Saturday? I don't know, maybe a third, quarter. I don't know if it's going to be half and half. We'll see. That could be up in the air. Mark Chambers, Arkansas covers receivers well. Yeah, I tell you what, Coach Pittman has done a fantastic job. And I don't know if you guys saw his press conference that we posted on our YouTube channel Monday, but there's a lot of how can you not like Coach Pittman? He had a lot to say about LSU, and he knows LSU very well. And I think LSU is going to win that football game. But they're coached very well, and he gets the most out of the talent that he's got. Blaine Smith, any recruits visiting this Saturday? Yes, there will be, but mostly the unofficial variety, the current commits. I think you'll see a good group of those, and we'll have some names for you as the weekend approaches. Here we go. OU7 Nats, you're not even going to get close to Lincoln Riley. The media and the people of Oklahoma are laughing at you. Lincoln Riley would leave a top 3 program to jump onto a dumpster fire. The people laugh. Okay. I'm going to guess your age is about 15. Thank you. Richard Sinnett, what are the new offensive line issues? Hines Ingram. Issues with, what are they calling it? A compliance issue at LSU. So, and then you got also injury bugs. Some interesting stuff. Pat Mashburn, I still want to see Mulkey versus Wade in a game of one-on-one. That would not be pretty. Mulkey can still get up and down the court. I don't even know if he would want to play pig or horse. Sean Greenblatt giving us a handshake. Blaine Smith, can't believe we only have one linebacker commit. Yeah. We're going to see what happens with Harold Perkins. I think he might actually still be waiting. James Phillips, Darius Days was unbelievable shooting the ball last night. Absolutely insane. 7 3-pointers in the first half. Lit it back up again in the second half. What a night he had. Absolutely right. Let's see. Guys, I want to talk about Tony Freeman. Of course, she's a big part of what we do each and every week, and we're glad to have her on as one of our sponsors. So if you're thinking of buying a home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine, someone many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options, Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today at 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell her you heard about her from TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765. Equal housing opportunity 70876. And she will take care of you whether you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas. She's licensed in many states. And multiple people have called her after seeing her on our show. And they are giving me positive feedback, how much they love dealing with Tony. A friend of mine, Melissa, told me today she's going to be calling her. So y'all give her a call while the rates are still low. How much longer they're going to be low, I don't know. But Tony will know, and she'll walk you through anything you need. Let's see, guys. All right. Mark Jett, as bad as some things are, you can imagine LSU's new coach like Steve Sarkisian going 4-5 in the last 9 games. It stinks to be a Longhorn. Man, I don't know what it's going to take for them to get it right. All right, this OU fan, I'm going to take care of him. He's out. Fisher is better off at Texas A&M. I don't know that I buy any of the Jimbo stuff. I tend to think if Woodward would go after Jimbo, it'd be after he's exhausted every other avenue. And I think this job is so appealing to so many coaches. I don't think Scott Woodward's going to have a problem, particularly what they're going to pay, the long-term contract, and everything else is going to be going on with the expansion of the SEC, TV contracts. If you're a head football coach, you're going to want to be at an SEC school. And if you're Lincoln Riley, I think he knows he's got a better chance of recruiting players that can fill out his entire roster, not just the offensive side of the ball, and win a national championship at LSU than he can at Oklahoma. That's just my take. Yeah, Jerome Lewis Landry, Jimbo is not at the top of the list. Hang that up. I hope you're right, Jerome, and I think you're right. Brandon Reese, you have to go younger with more upside. I tend to like that idea. I like some of the younger coaches that we've been talking about. Troy Bieniemy, keep Riley Norman. He's NFL bound from there. I don't know. Is he? Kyle Brister, I guess the reality is setting in about Fisher. The next reality would be Lincoln Riley. I don't know what that reality would be, Kyle. I think most fans have thought it has been a smoke screen for a long time. The national media keep bringing it up because it's lazy. It's very lazy to bring him up. 337 Bo, does the NFL schedule automatically remove any pro coordinators from getting the job? I think it does. I really do. Unless someone pulls a Petrino and abandons their team early, I think it does. This recruiting year in Louisiana is fantastic, class of 2022. You've got to get them a new coach on the ground as soon as you can after that Texas A&M game. Maybe the following weekend, if the coach is going to go ahead and coach his team in a conference championship game. But beyond that, I think you're maxed out. You've got to get somebody in, if you can, the remaining few days of November. And I think no later than December 4th or 5th, max. The earlier the better. And to me, that eliminates any NFL coach. Unless they're a coordinator that a coach on a team that's losing and isn't probably going to be projected to be in the playoffs, that maybe they would let him go, and even then I doubt it. Those guys are pretty well locked in with their unions and everything about when they can even conduct interviews for jobs. Tyson Messer, Lincoln is on the way. James Phillips, Coach Johnson is building a baseball powerhouse. Dane Bergeron, Max is taking a beating this year. Yeah, he has, Dane, and he's a tough kid. Y'all got to give him that. Him getting him a rest may do him a world of good, possibly, but I don't like burning Garrett Nussmeier's red shirt. I'd like for that kid to get a red shirt. Chance Babin, Napier, O'Reilly, both young and can recruit. I wouldn't have a problem with either one of those. Jeremy Franks, hey Mike, do you know why Lincoln Riley didn't go to his press conference? And I love your show. Thanks, Mr. Franks. I'm assuming you're one of the folks in that photo, or maybe that's your grandpa. But either way, thanks for the nice comment. I think, look, I don't know what happened there. We try to follow up on that. I don't think it has anything to do with any jobs or anything like that. Maybe there was a medical issue, sinus infection. I have no idea. Good weather fella. The Bama game proved LSU has a better roster and ready to win big. I'm with you. I think, look, obviously the numbers are down, and even if you get the additional kids into the portal that give you the 25 plus 7, you've got 3 in there now. You need 4 more in order to get the full 7, and they got to be in there by December 1. So you get the 25 plus 7, you're still in the mid 70s for next year. You're still a couple of years away from getting to the 85, and we're going to see what happens with the NCAA and whether they extend that, if they add more to it. But I think this is going to be a running deal where they're going to have to continue to give additional scholarship spots on top of the 25 in order for major programs to fill their rosters, because the transfer portal is going to make things difficult. Jason Burkhardt, if Raleigh comes, does he take the O-line coach with him? I'm assuming he would. Aaron Fisk, any words on Wiggins and Matthews? I believe and I know that Quincy Wiggins is indeed is taking a wait-and-see approach to see who LSU hires. I think Ed Orgeron and Coach Carter have done a fantastic job of telling him that LSU is the best place for him to be. I think he's willing to wait. And I think the other kids in this recruiting class, they're all in DMs together, group messages and texts. I think they're all talking and they're all taking a wait and see. And I think Jacoby Matthews could very well take a wait and see. Although Texas A&M is certainly making a push for him, Le'Veon Moss, and maybe one or two others. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. Leonard Sarasota, Tiger fans wanting to live the life of Riley, going to end up with Tucker, the man in his dream. I think that Mel Tucker thing, did the loss to Purdue end that? And how many more losses could he absorb before you could sell that? To me, he needs another year or two, and maybe a win over Ohio State and more in order to sell me on him being the guy for the LSU job. That's just me. Stuart King Napier's my guy. Who would his choices be as coordinators? That's one of the questions, because he calls the offensive plays at ULL, and would he be willing to relinquish that? He's going to be up for some jobs. We're seeing a lot of openings now, and I think there's more coming. Paul from Metairie, hey Mike. John Roberts, please not Jimbo. Man, who are the pro Jimbo people? I don't see him out there. And is it wrong for him not to be the favorite? Is it just because we're worn down by him? We have Jimbo fatigue. And is that maybe something we're making a mistake about? That's a good question. I tend to not like his offense. I think it's someone referred to it as Les Miles 2.0 today, and that's kind of how I've talked about it. I've never liked how long it's taken for his quarterbacks to develop. They took forever when he was at LSU. So we'll see. Rick Westfall, I still trust Scott Woodward. I think everybody's with you, Rick. Blaine Smith, will LSU take 2 quarterbacks in this class? I think 2 quarterbacks in every class. I don't think they do. I think they only take 1. But is there a scenario where they would maybe look at a transfer depending on what's the shakeout once the dust settles on when the new coach is here? But I do think the class of 23 is a 2 quarterback class. I do. I think it's what you're seeing is what, and I'd have to go look roster by roster. Which school out there actually has 4 quarterbacks on scholarship once kickoff is there in September? You think you're in great shape. You got 4, then you're down to 3, and then you're down to 2. I mean, in a blink of an eye, you can go from a great scenario to a bad one. And I tend to think the most you can hold on to is 3. If you've got your guys spaced out. Tony Williams, what's up, everyone? Wayne Florence, Bob Stoops. Nah. Christian Cameron, I keep reading reports that State Woodward still wants Jimbo. I don't know how true that is. I can tell you, Christian, that Scott Woodward, even with the guys who are cutting big money checks, keeps everything close to the vest, and he is not sharing which way he's going with anybody, even those guys who cut checks for big dollars for buying out Ed Orgeron and all his coaches. They're not getting any morsels as to what's happening other than wait and see, trust me. And I believe that. Anything else that's out there, truly, is people throwing spaghetti against the wall. And I'll say this. I think if we get anything in the next week or two, I think it's going to come from that particular city, or an agent links something, or there's going to be some rendezvous or something, or there's going to be some assistant coach that says, yeah, Coach so-and-so asked me if I'd be a part of his staff in Baton Rouge. It's going to be some scenario like that where we get anything, I believe, to really chew on as to what direction this thing is going. That's just how I see it. Barry Barbier, I would be extremely surprised if either Fisher or Riley comes to LSU, and you could be right. Is it Luke Fickell? Is it does Brian Kelly reconsider and want to come back in? I know there's been some talks there. But you're talking about an older guy. He's 60. And I don't think, of all the guys we talk about, I think he's the one that's not the fit. I would have Jimbo ahead of him on my list. Brian Champagne, same people in the media are saying it's out for Jimbo or Mel Tucker. What's your thought? Yeah, I disagree. If I was LSU, I'd push these guys to commit second signing day. Problem with that, Blaine, is most of those guys are midterm grads. I mean, they're ready to go. Most of your high-end recruits nowadays are midterm grads. So it depends on who those guys are. I don't think you're going to be able to convince anybody to go back to school when they don't have to. Mark Chambers, hot chocolate weather Saturday. What's the temps going to be? Barry Barbier, Tucker will lose 2 more times this year, and that's my point. Lost to Purdue, and there's at least one more loss in there for sure. Kenny Fudge. At the OU guy earlier. Dumpster Fire 63, OU 28. Yeah, if you're in a bad mood, just pull up that LSU-Oklahoma playoff game on your DVR and watch that one. That'll perk you up. Brandon Reese, can Riley win a title at Oklahoma? That's the big question at this point for him. And I think that's the deal. That's the scenario for him. I think he knows it, and I'm told that he's had discussions. He knows that it's so difficult to recruit difference makers at all the positions on his Oklahoma team because he's got to go to Texas and come up really big in other places. He doesn't have to do that at LSU. And then that's, kind of also the scenario with Luke Fickell. When you're doing what he's doing at Cincinnati, yet you can't break into the top 4 of the playoff polls, at some point does it finally dawn on him, hey, if I want to actually coach a team for a national championship, then this is an opportunity down at LSU, regardless of how much he loves the state of Ohio. Let's see. Guys, I want to talk about our good friends over at Pride Roofing. Of course, we do this each and every week thanks to them. And Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, our title sponsor, blowing and going. They're still taking care of everybody that got wrecked by Ida. I talked to Mike yesterday, and they still have pooled all their resources from all their locations, and they're focusing entirely on Southeast Louisiana, the North Shore, Kenner, Laplace, Reserve, the whole southeast portion of Louisiana, North Shore, Covington, Ponchatoula, anybody that's still out there and still have a blue tarp on their roof. If you've got a roofing company that's telling you that they're not going to be able to get to you for 2 months, that's not the case with Pride. I think that they've got theirs well into still the 2 to 3 week range to get at you. And if you've talked with your adjuster, if you're in a bid situation, they will match lowest bids or beat it. So give Pride Roofing a call, 855-PRIDE-16. You're not going to get any builder grade shingles. They make all their own flashing in-house. Mike tells me if you're in Albany, swing by their location on Florida. They welcome you to come in and say hello. They like to meet you. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to give you a free year of TigerBait Premium for simply saying you heard about them on TigerBait, and they'll go out and give you a free roof inspection, so you can't beat it. And so give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and as always, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and the best labor on their warranty of any roofing company in Louisiana over 5 years. So give them a call, Pride Roofing. Thanks to Mike and Alex for being our the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Darren Birch, hold y'all's draws on. We will get the best coach out there to come to LSU. Go Tigers. Let's see. Andy Whitaker. If I were on some other team from other conferences, local live show talking crap about a coaching hire, I would consider myself scared. Yeah, either that or he's 15 years old and got nothing to do. 337 Bo, Oklahoma fans that scared, they're invading the chat. Yeah. Some media saying it's out. Okay, yeah, we got that one already. Sorry about that, Brian. Let me scroll down. I think I missed some. Christian Cameron, we are living rent-free in OU's heads right now. Yeah, I probably a little provocative when I created the story item for the chat tonight, and I used a photo of Lincoln Riley. That probably added to it, but that's okay. 337 Bo, Oklahoma should have lost to Tulane. Yeah, I tell you what, Tulane gave them all they wanted. Tulane's a very well-coached football team. Brandon Reese, we'll see what Oklahoma does when they join the SEC and don't have Kansas and Iowa State to push around. No doubt. I think they're a 2 or 3 loss team every year. Our buddy Blake Ruffino with RU Serious Sports. What's up, everyone? Glad to see you, Blake. Yeah, Mark Jet, Hobie's son in the house. He's an OU guy. Blaine Smith, what is up with Sage? Yeah, he's just had an injury bug. I don't know if there's anything else going on there. Hopefully he can get it out there. Frederick Wright, 15 is being generous, Mike. Is Deion Smith injured? Yes. Rick Westfall, another compliance issue. Yeah, I need to get down to the bottom of what's going on with Chase and Hines. I did. Will Pico, did you see the Harold Perkins tweet, the tiger emoji? I really think LSU's still a player with Harold Perkins, despite the what's going on right now. And by the way, when you talk about coaches that should be retained by the next coach, I think Blake Baker's going to be a guy that, depending on who the coach is and who his linebackers coach at his current school, I think Coach Baker might be one of the current LSU coaches that would get an interview. I believe that. Of course, he hadn't had an opportunity to fill out a recruiting class, like we were talking about earlier. Got one linebacker committed, but we're going to see how this plays out. It does make me mad that Stingley and others didn't play. Wish we could have had Josh Butte. Yeah. I would take that little blonde girl in pigtails over Wade any day in a one-on-one. Yeah, I would too. Yeah, Blaine. Jimbo Fisher makes a lot of sense. Scott Woodward relationship. He's available right after the season. No buyout. Recruiting and won a national title. I like I said earlier, Blaine and all y'all, I don't want to sound like I'm crapping on Jimbo. And like I said, are we making a mistake by kind of having Jimbo fatigue all these years? But I do like the other guys that I have in the top of my list. Mark Chambers, what happened to the end of the basketball game last night? 5 players kicked out at the end. Yeah, they came out on the court. There was because they didn't fight, they were only kicked out of the game for the rest of the game. That was the explanation from Will Wade. But certainly, luckily someone's lucky they didn't get hurt. So, yeah, that could have been an ugly situation at the end of the game that I didn't think was necessary. Kenny Russell, whoa, with the super chat. Thank you, Kenny. Mike, I think Jimbo is a smokescreen, but how would Riley come and recruit for LSU if OU is still in the playoffs? Exactly. So we want all these guys to be pristine, and you want to go in and rob somebody who's got a great record, and so that way anybody else who wants somebody says, Why do you want him? He lost to so-and-so. But in reality, some of these guys, if they're your guy and you really want them and they're in the college football playoff picture, you're probably hoping they stub their toe. I've been saying that for 2 weeks. Some of these guys, if you really covet them, maybe you want them to maybe not have a good coaching performance one week or their team not have a good game plan or whatever, just so you can get them on the ground running as soon as possible after LSU wraps up their last game with A&M. I agree with you. But I hope it's a smokescreen. I believe it is. I think most of the national writers and pundits who are going on the air and talking about it, they're saying it because it's easy. Christian Hute, if OU assistant coaches start following LSU recruits on Twitter, that would be a sign. Yeah, obviously everybody's already following airplanes. Kevin Virch or Tim Brando has Jimbo Fisher as the number one choice. Tim Brando also said last week that Oklahoma was a better job than LSU. And at that point, I went on my board and I said, in the words of the great Don Rickles, it's over. Tim, come on, man. He's laid out a few doozies lately. And I love Tim Brando, but man, some of his takes lately have been awful. Gerald Holyfield, who's on your list, Mike? I came in late. I like Lincoln Riley, Mario Cristobal, and Luke Fickell. That's my top three. And then behind that, you would get into Jimbo Fisher and a few others. Mike McGrath. Fisher is a Title IX nightmare. Remember the rape allegation against Winston and the other play. Well, look, that's so far gone, Mick. That's a long, long time ago. There's no Title IX issues there. Justin Saunier, none of the possible candidates are going to be available in terms of recruiting. I don't know I'm not seeing that. Yeah, Richard Taylor. Brando Blowhard knows zilch. Yeah, he's absolutely wrong. Chad Michael with a good comment. LSU probably recruits itself at a 60% rate. I agree. Every recruit knows that 3 different coaches have won national championship at LSU in the last 20 years, and Scott isn't playing with the next head football coach. I agree with you, Chad. I also say that's part of the reason why I think that a lot of coaches at LSU over the years have gotten some mythological reputations of how great of a recruiter they are. But I'm telling you, you can have the meanest, angriest, most unfriendly coach on the staff, and if he's got that LSU polo on and he goes into a school and offers a recruit a scholarship in this state, he's probably got 75, 80% of the job already done. This LSU is a monumental brand in this area, and I think that's part of the selling point. That's why, 3 Saturdays ago, you had the ESPN Game Day crew talking about it as one of the top 3 jobs in the country. And 2 days before that, on another ESPN show, they were debating whether it was number 1. It's either Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU. Maybe in that order. Maybe you flip Ohio State and LSU. But Alabama is Nick Saban. What does that job post him? They could go on another stretch of Mike Shula and Dubose. Brandon Reese, Franklin probably going to USC. I hope he does. He's not, he would be in last place on my list. I'm not a James Franklin fan. And Elmo Domains thinks the same. I hope Franklin's out of the picture, too much baggage. Dane Bergeron, Mike, you'll be in the Big 12 championship game, which would make his availability further out. Yeah, but what's the scenario there? Can you be in the Big 12 championship game, but not in the playoff picture? That'll tell some of the story. If you're not in the playoff picture and you're going to take the LSU job, do you choose not to coach the Big 12 championship game? What is the date of the Big 12 championship game? Somebody tell me. Is it the 4th? December 4th? It's got to be. The Pac-12 was on the 3rd, right? American Patriot. Is LSU going after HN? Trevor? Yeah. They're still recruiting him, but there's a lot of scuttlebutt that he might end up at Florida because of his older brother being with the Tampa Bay Bucks. That's some of the word I've been getting. Even though Mullen in that Florida is a dumpster fire right now, but I think Mullen's going to get another year. Mark Chambers, Oklahoma will throw money at Riley to keep him. You know, that was one of the things that their beat writer said, that he didn't think that Oklahoma would throw money at him. If LSU's going to come in there and offer $10, $11, $12 million, he doesn't see Oklahoma going that route. He believes they're too proud and they don't believe in spending that kind of money. So is there a scenario where it'd be Lincoln Riley and Scott Woodward offers them actually a little bit more money than Nick Saban? But I'm pretty sure Saban has it in his contract that he has to be the number one paid coach in all of college football. So within a week, he would get more money. Guys, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the show, hit the like button, share on your social media. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. I think we're still showing like 45% of our viewers aren't subscribed. And we're loading new content on our YouTube channel every day, interviews and a lot more. And so please do that and please share, spread the word of what we're doing here at TigerBait. And we want to have you as a subscriber. Go to TigerBait and subscribe, choose the annual package. You're essentially getting 3 months when you choose the annual package for free. And we've got a lot coming your way. Covering backwards and forwards a coaching search. As soon as a new coach is hired, recruiting is going to kick into an insane gear. We're going to be covering that like nobody's business. And, of course, now we're in basketball season, men and women. So we're doing it all for you at TigerBait. And our Tiger Den premium message board is really blowing up. Let's see. I want to make sure I missed some of these guys. Hold up for a second. Leonard Sarasota, where's that old cantankerous Cajun that usually banters back and forth with you most weeks? Are you talking about Buddy Sanji? He'll be back next week. I don't know. Does Buddy consider himself a Cajun? I don't know. Yeah. I hike BC. These salaries are getting mind blowing. Yeah, they are. And where does it stop? But like I said, if you're going to give a coach like a Lincoln Riley or a Fickle or a Cristobal, and you're going to take a guy away from a premier program that's in the top 10, who's got a very good job, that's getting paid very well, you got to overpay initially to get him. You know, nobody leaves a job for the same amount of money. Kim Mulkey said she did, but that doesn't happen. And so you're going to have to overpay initially. But if you're going to give them a 7 or 8 year deal, while it looks obscene in year 1, maybe in year 3 or 4, that salary is probably barely hanging by a thread to being in the top 10 at the rate these things keep escalating. And most of these guys do have buyouts, so you got to factor that in. Emil Narad, Riley is coming. He's going to learn how to not grill brisket to a crisp. There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for you guys for tuning in tonight. Please like, share. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. I want to have you on board with us as a premium subscriber. Thanks to Pride Roofing. Thanks to Tony Freeman. Thanks to all you guys' comments. Thanks for the super chats. And those of you who gave us any stars on Facebook, Very much thank you for those as well. We'll be back here post-game on Saturday, and Preston Tuesday night, and myself and Sanji back here Wednesday. And I also have a couple of other special shows. I got a big-time recruit that I'm going to be doing an interview with via here on Zoom that you guys are going to want to hear from. That'll be a premium item on TigerBait. And I've got a fantastic pro baseball scout who's been out to every practice, knows all these recruits that just signed with Jay Johnson today. So be on the lookout for that. I think I'm going to have him in here next week, he said. So we got a lot coming your way on tigerbait.com. Good night, everybody. Thank y'all.